It's that time of year again, and no, I am not talking about the holidays. It's winter ball season, everyone's favorite, right? Wrong. Just kidding. When people play winter ball, it's usually because the team wants them to work on something, or you just need to make a little extra money for the off season. I've rarely heard anybody going to play winter ball just for fun. I can think about one person. I got one person in mind though that's actually playing winter ball in Mexico because he really has a good time down there and just enjoys it. He's also single, so. But anyway, today I want to talk to you about my winter ball experiences, and hopefully I'll be able to help you if you find yourself on a winter ball team this off season. So let's get started. Up first, we have Australia. Our first winter ball season was in Australia. It's absolutely amazing. After Anthony retired from college football and decided to pursue baseball full time, the team was like, okay, well, we're gonna send you to Australia for 3 months and just let you play down there to try to get in the groove of things, get into the groove, kind of figure out some stuff, I guess, before spring training. So we were just married. We got married in July. Anthony left football in October. Yes, in October. And then that November, we were headed down under, and we were so excited. The Jays sent us there for 3 months. Well, not all expense paid. They did pay for my plane ticket, and funny story. So they paid for my plane ticket, but we missed our original flight because we thought that you could just show up to the airport 30 minutes or like an hour beforehand and get on an international flight. We thought since it was going to LA that they were gonna let us on. They were like, no, y'all gotta buy, more tickets. So missed that flight and ended up catching another flight out the next day. Australia, once we finally got down there, Australia was a lot of fun. I remember just thinking, it was just so beautiful. A few pros, the people were absolutely amazing. I swear, some of the nicest people that I've ever met in my life. Everybody was super nice. As far as safety goes, it was extremely safe. They don't have guns. It was like an incident that happened back in the day, and after that incident happened, they were like, okay, we're getting rid of the guns. So they don't have guns, so nobody carries a gun. So if anything, you could get stabbed, but it is extremely safe, and the people are super nice. And if I could just go back just to be around the people, I would get on the plane in a heartbeat. As far as our living situation goes, when Anthony decided to play baseball full time and they offered us the winter ball experience in Australia, he said, okay, but on these conditions. Only if my wife can go, and we have our own house and our own car. So as far as our living conditions, they were great. We had our own car. The car wasn't that great, but we had our own car, and they provided us with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. Like that was like walking distance to like the little shops and restaurants and stuff like that. So that was pretty awesome. One funny thing about our car, it was crazy because you have to drive on the opposite side of the road. So that was an experience within itself, driving on the opposite side. But then we had a stick shift. So I had to learn how to drive a stick shift and learn how to drive on the opposite side of the road. So that was just an experience within itself. But just thinking back. We just had such a good time. The team, we were with the Canberra Cavalry, and they were absolutely amazing. I still remember Glenn Bain. I don't even remember what Glenn, I think he was like the GM or something. But Glenn, he was such a sweetheart, and we actually still have contact to this day. But they really took care of us. They let us go to the away game series, but we did have to like share rooms with other players if we didn't want to spend money and get our own room. I did have to share a room with another guy before, but anyway. So the team was Canberra Cavalry, and in Canberra, which is the capital of Australia, just in case you didn't know that, it's not Sydney, it's not Melbourne, it's Canberra. Funny story, when we were getting on our flight from the US to go to Australia, we had these Australians that were about to board the flight, and they were like, "Oh, you going to Aussie?" And we were like, "Yeah." He was like, and they were like, "What part?" And we were like, "We land in Brisbane, but our final destination is Canberra." And they were like, "You mean you land in Brisbane and your final destination is Canberra?" And we were like, "Canberra? No, Canberra." Oh God, we were so ignorant. They say a lot of stuff that we would read, like we thought we were staying in MANUKA, but it was MANUKA. Like it was just a little backwards. Not backwards, just different. But we enjoyed it. So we were with the Canberra Cavalry, that is the capital of Australia. So we were in the capital. It's also the porn capital of Australia, which I found to be an interesting fact. So the activities, now that I'm talking about it, so much stuff is like rushing back to my head. Like I remember being woke up by what's the name of those birds? Cockatoos. I remember waking up to the like worst sound in the world, but it was like just the cockatoos that were big chilling in the tree outside of our apartment, which like you see Australia got some wild animals down there, so get ready for that. But activities, I know we went to see kangaroos. The kangaroos just hop around. We went to like a golf course down there, and around sunset the kangaroos come out and they just hop around, and we had to stay real far back though because I didn't want to get punched. So we went to see kangaroos. We would go out. They have amazing restaurants, great bars, really good nightlife. The beaches are incredible, but Anthony would never let me get in the water because he was scared I was gonna get eaten by a shark. So if you're in Sydney, go to Bondi Beach. If you're in Canberra, it's a beach that's really close. I forgot the name. We actually went there. But it's a beach that's really close to, like, it's like 2 hours away, and we just did an Airbnb. Some people did the Great Barrier Reef. We went to several different cities. I went to Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, one of my favorite cities. There's plenty for you to do, especially if you're in a well-populated area like Sydney or Melbourne. Those are the top 2 cities in Australia, I believe. So one thing I did not like about Australia was the holidays. And it was because I was just married, and my family, we do it big for Christmas. It's always everybody coming together. My dad reads the scripture, we open the presents, and we just have a really good time. But when we were in Australia, that was my first time. I was thousands of miles away from home. I was so sad, and it didn't even feel like Christmas, first of all, because it was summer down there and nobody really decorated, and I was just very sad. It was just me and Anthony. I made him get dressed, and then we opened our gifts, And then I went to turn on the TV so we could watch Christmas movies, but there was no Christmas movies on TV. They also don't celebrate Thanksgiving, which I know that's just an American thing, and I think Canada maybe, which, you know, that's cool, but Christmas, that was just like, ugh. And they celebrate it, it's just not like how we celebrate it, if that makes sense. But they do celebrate Australia Day, which is kind of like their 4th of July. So that's a lot of fun. And New Year's Eve, I spent New Year's Eve in Melbourne, and that was a blast. So the holidays, I guess it was just my Christmas that really sucked. But other than that, it was cool. Another con, I guess you could say, was the TV. They didn't have Netflix when we were down there. We went down there in 2014 and they didn't have Netflix. The TV was just terrible. Like, we would have to wake up. American football would come on at like 4 a.m. in the morning. So if you wanted to watch American football, you had to get up super early. But I watched The Dog Out of Ellen and Australian Big Brother. I watched that. And I had to watch all these things because they didn't have Netflix. So that sucked. They have Netflix now though, so if you go down there, at least you have that. We also had to, I could get calls on my cell phone. They could call me from the United States. I could receive calls, but I couldn't call out. That was another thing. And the Wi-Fi, I don't think our apartment didn't have Wi-Fi, so we had to buy a little pocket Wi-Fi, which was cool. At the end of the day, Australia was absolutely amazing. I would not trade that experience for the world. And one day I really hope to go back. And if you have any questions, if you're in Australia, just hit me up. I'm trying to help you out. But yeah, I need to go back. I feel like those are my people. Okay, on to the next.